Good morning, everyone. My name is Neha. Welcome to the Genius channel. Today I'm going to discuss previous year question from chemistry NDA, and I have taken question from 2009. So I'm going to discuss questions from 2009. So around 10 to 12 question came in 2009. So I have taken all the question, and here comes the first question, which was asked: oxygen and ozone are oxygen and ozone are, and options are given. First option is allotropes. Second is isomers. Third is isotopes. And fourth is isobars. So now in this question, oxygen and ozone are, basically we have to identify the relationship between oxygen and ozone. Ozone is O3 and oxygen molecule is O2. So we have to identify the relation. What is the relationship between oxygen and O3? Sometimes O4 also exists. So now before answering this question, we should know all these terms. So now the first term is allotropes. Allotropes means different physical state. That means different physical state, different physical state of the same element, Isomers are same molecular formula, but different arrangement. Isotopes are same number of protons, and different number of neutrons. Isobars means same molecular weight or same atomic weight. Same atomic, because we are talking about elements, so same atomic weight of different element. So now we have to identify the relationship between oxygen and O3. So now we can say that oxygen and O3 are allotropes. Why? Because oxygen is existing in more than a different physical state, like etc. So for this, our answer will be allotropes, because oxygen is existing different physical state. Here O2 is colorless, and O3 is blue in color. We know that our ozone layer is a protective layer that protects us from UV ultraviolet rays that is coming from the sun. So this was the first question which was asked in 2009 from chemistry section. Now the next question is, now in this question we have to understand the relationship between acid and base. What happens in ant bite? What happens? Ant stick contains acid, and that is formic acid. And when ant bites on, what happens? Our skin irritates. Means because of the effect of the acid, skin irritates. And what we do when we apply this lemon juice and vinegar, these both are acid. When we apply these two, what happens? The effect will increase, the irritation will increase, because acid combination will be there. So to neutralize the effect of acid, what we will add? We will add base. So either we can apply this or we can apply this. But in case of ants bite, what happens? Formic acid contains, this is a formic acid that ant sting contains. So now formic acid is a weak acid. So what we will do? We will apply weak base. So baking soda is the weak base. that is sodium bicarbonate. So when we apply a weak acid with weak base, it will neutralize and it will relieve the pain. But what happened? What is the caustic soda? Caustic soda is NaOH. It's a strong base, and that is being used in manufacturing in industries. So we can't use NaOH because it's a strong base. We will use baking soda because it's a weak base. Why? Because and sting contains weak acid, so we will apply weak base. So baking soda will be our answer. Next question is, which among the following is a chemical change? Which among the following is a chemical change? First option is a wet towel. A wet towel dries in the sun. Second option is lemon juice added to the tea and changes the color. Third option is hot air rises over the radiator. Option D is coffee is brewed by passing hot steam through ground coffee. Now in this question we have to see what is chemical change. Now what is we have two types of changes in our atmosphere: chemical change and physical change. Physical change is a temporary change that is not permanent, and in physical change identity of the substance does not changes. But what happens in chemical change? Chemical change is a permanent change and identity of the substance changes completely. Means the properties of the given substance, the given compound, the given element will change. So that will be known as chemical change. Now let's see which one is a chemical change. The first option is a wet towel dries in the sun. So it's a it won't be a chemical change, it will be a physical change. Why? Because we can make the towel wet again and we can make it dry it again. So there is no change in properties. Now this second option is lemon juice added to the tea changes the color. What happens? Lemon juice is acidic in nature, and when we add acid to tea, what happens? The pH level of tea rises, and immediately we can see the change in color. And third option is hot air rises over radiator. Radiator radiates some amount of heat, and when air comes in contact to the radiator, air gets heated up and it rises. So now this process can be repeated again and again. Fourth one is coffee is brewed by passing hot steam through ground coffee. So in this process also the properties of coffee does not changes, only the state of the coffee is changing. So now after understanding all the four options, we can say that only B is the correct answer, because in this option, in this case, we can't get the original color or original taste or original property of tea after adding lemon juice. So taste of the tea will also change. It will be because of the acid and because of the pH level, whatever properties of tea will change completely and we can't get it back. So our answer will be option B. Let's see the next question. which among the following is an element? Which among the following is an element? And options are alumina, option B, brass, option C, graphite, option D, silica. Now, out of all these four options, we have to identify elements. And element is a substance which has a single unit and it has single property. Its elements are not combination of other elements. It's a single unit. So now alumina. So what is alumina? We have to write the chemical formula of alumina. It will be Al2O3. It's a source of aluminium. Now brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. Graphite is an allotrope of carbon, and silica is SiO2. Now, in this case, what happens? See, alumina is a source of aluminium, and it contains aluminium and oxygen. Now, brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. It contains two different elements. Now, graphite is the allotrope of carbon, and silica also contains silicon and oxygen. So now you can see that only graphite is graphite is a single unit of carbon, means it contains only carbon. There is no other elements. So now we can say that graphite will be element, and this will be our answer. So whenever this type of question comes in the exam, you should know the formula, and only basic compounds or only basic ores will be asked. So these are the simple one, alumina and silica. So easily we can answer these type of question. Next question is, in this question I'm just writing the reaction and what is asked. So N2N3H2 gives, it's a reversible reaction, 2NH3. So now in the question it is asked, how many hydrogen required to complete the reaction if we have taken 100 molecule of nitrogen. So now how many molecules of hydrogen are required if we have taken 100 molecule of nitrogen? And options are 100, 200, 300 and 400. Now what happens? See, in this reaction, when you see the reaction, we have taken one molecule of N2 and 3 molecules of H2 gives 2 molecule of NH3. It's a simple and direct question. If you can see the reaction, you can answer the question. See, so what happens? Nitrogen and hydrogen. When nitrogen is 1 molecule, hydrogen is 3 molecule. When nitrogen is 100 molecule, then this is the ratio. Then what will be the ratio? What will be the number of molecules for hydrogen? So now ratio and proportion, we can do cross multiplication. We will get 300 molecule. This will be our answer. Without any calculation, if you see the answer, you can multiply it. Here hydrogen is thrice, it's 3 times then number of nitrogen. So this will be our answer. Now next question is, which among the following is used as a moderator in nuclear reactors? Options are ozone, option B, heavy hydrogen, C, heavy water, D is hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. Now, in nuclear reactors, nuclear reactions are very difficult to control because it releases tremendous amount of energy that we cannot control so easily. So what we do, we use moderator. Moderator means that controls the speed of the reaction, that moderates the rate of the reaction. So in nuclear reactors, what we use, first option is ozone. Ozone is O3. We cannot use ozone because ozone, we already know it's a protective layer in our atmosphere that protects us from UV ultraviolet rays. Now heavy hydrogen is used in manufacturing, in industries we use. Now heavy water is D2O. Instead of writing H2O, we write D2O because deuterium, this is deuterium, and it's a allotrope of hydrogen. So we take deuterium as a heavy water to moderate the rate of the reaction in nuclear reactor, and H2O2 it is used as a disinfect. So now our answer will be heavy water, and the chemical formula of heavy water is D2O. So this is our answer. Next is which one of the following contains now this question is that this question is the question is match the following. Match the following. So I'm just writing the table, and the first is glass, second is soap, paper, and cement. Soap, paper, and cement. And this is basically we have to match with the substance and the raw material. So substance is glass, soap, paper, and cement. And raw materials are fat and caustic alkali, fat and caustic alkali, soap, cellulose fiber and gelatin, cellulose fiber and gelatin. Next is silicates of calcium and aluminium, silicates of calcium and aluminium. Next is silica, SiO2. Now in this case we have to match with the substance with the raw material. Now for glass raw material is silica, that is SiO2. From silica we prepare glass. Now soap, for soap soap is a base, and the raw material what we require, that should be also base. So we take fat and caustic alkali. We have learned that cleaning action of soap, we use fat, and we use basically the fat is required and the caustic alkalis are also required. So we from fat and caustic alkali we prepare soap. For paper we know we use cellulose fiber and gelatin. For cement we use silicate, we take silicates of calcium and aluminium. So this is our answer, and we have to match it as per the given options. Next is vinegar is the trade name of first is acetic acid, second is chloroform, third is carbon tetrachloride, and fourth is ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol. Now vinegar is a trade name of which of the following? So vinegar is a trade name of acetic acid CH3COOH. Now chloroform and carbon tetrachloride, ethyl alcohol, because in this case acetic acid is only vinegar. So now vinegar is a dilute solution of acetic acid that contains 5 to 8% of acetic acid. Means if we have to prepare 1 liter of the solution, in that 5 to 8% we need to add vinegar, because it's an acid and it's highly corrosive. So we add acetic acid is a weak acid, but still we add small amount. The percentage of acetic acid will be 5 to 8% only. Consider the following statement about the diamond. Now few statements are given regarding the diamond. The first option is it's an allotrope of silicon. It is an allotrope of silicon. Second will be it's a bad conductor of heat and electricity. Bad conductor of heat and electricity. Third one is it is the hardest substance. It is the hardest substance. It burns to produce carbon dioxide. Burns to produce CO2. Now, in this question, we have to find out the correct statement regarding the diamond. And the first statement is it's an allotrope of silicon. So first statement will be wrong, because we already know that diamond is an allotrope of carbon. So it contains carbon. It is not. It's not allotrope of silicon. Now it's a bad conductor of heat and electricity. Yes, because carbon is a non-metal. It's a non-metal, and non-metals are bad conductor of heat and electricity. So this will be correct. Next will be it's a hardest substance. Yes, diamond is the hardest substance, because we can cut it and we can make it we can convert it into any shape. So because of this property only, the diamond jewelries are easy to make. Now it's the hardest substance, so it will be correct. But the another allotrope, that is graphite, that is soft. Because of this, the structure, the gap between the carbon structure, graphite is soft, but diamond is hard. Now it burns to produce carbon dioxide. Yes, when oxygen burns with carbon burns with oxygen, it gives CO2. So this statement is also correct. So statement second, third, and fourth is correct. Statement one is incorrect. Next is this will be our second last question. Which one of the following chemical? Which one of the following chemical used in the beauty parlor, beauty parlor for hair setting? for hair setting. And options are sulfur based, phosphorus based. Third one is silicon based. And the last one is iron based. So the answer will be sulfur based, because silicon based element will compound will be used for chemical is silicon is a semiconductor, so that will be used in electrical department. Now iron is also a metal, we cannot use it, and phosphorus we also cannot use it. So only sulfur based chemicals will be only used for hair setting in beauty parlor. And next question, the last question we have. This question requires a little calculation. So now we will do some calculation, and it's a good question actually. Question is, which of the following contains maximum percentage of nitrogen? So now we have to identify the maximum percentage, and the first option is urea. Second option is ammonium cyanide. Third is ammonium carbonate. And the last option is ammonium nitrate. Now we have to find out the percentage of nitrogen. So now before writing the percentage of nitrogen, we have to identify the structure. Then only say that in which of the compound we have maximum percentage of nitrogen. So for urea, it will be NH2, CO, NH2. For ammonium cyanide, it will be NH4CN. For ammonium carbonate, it will be NH4 whole 2 CO3. For ammonium nitrate, it will be NH4 NO3, ammonium nitrate. Now we have to find out the percentage of nitrogen. So before writing the percentage of nitrogen, let's take first option, urea. The formula is NH2CO NH2. Now we have to find the percentage by mass. So in order to find out the percentage by mass, what we need to calculate? We need to calculate the mass, the atomic mass. So now the atomic mass for this entire for this small compound will be, for nitrogen it will be 14 plus 2 plus carbon 12 plus oxygen 16 plus nitrogen 14 plus hydrogen, 2 hydrogen means 2. So now when we add it, we will get 60. And we have to find out what percentage of nitrogen. So how many nitrogens are here? We have 2 nitrogens, so 14 plus, for nitrogen, mass of nitrogen will be 14 plus 14, it will be 28. So we know mass of urea also, and we know mass of nitrogen. So now easily we can calculate percentage mass of nitrogen, and it will be given by mass of urea divided by mass of nitrogen into 100. So now when we will write the values, 60 divided by 28 into 100, we will get approximate 46.6% of nitrogen. So now when you calculate here, I have written the chemical formula. Now with the help of chemical formula, you calculate all the nitrogen, and you will get that only urea contains maximum percentage of nitrogen. That's why it is used as a fertilizer, because it contains maximum nitrogen, and it helps plants to grow. So this is the only reason it contains maximum percentage of nitrogen. So this is our answer. Answer will be option 1. So thank you, students. This was the question. These are the questions from 2009. In next session, I'll be discussing questions from 2010. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching.